Good afternoon. Happy Sunday. Well, happy any day, but because this is Sunday, happy Sunday. Happy the end of November. Happy it's almost December. We are past Thanksgiving now and past Black Friday and officially into the holidays, I believe. So, what are your plans? Hmm? What are you going to be doing in this unusual year? How are you going to be doing things differently than you usually do? Hi, Laura. Happy you're here. I wish I could see you. This needs to work two ways. They got to figure out how to make this work 2 days. Well, I guess they have. They call that Zoom, don't they?
You're so updated.
I'm so updated, so aware of what's going on in the world. Um, but happy nonetheless. I love knowing you're here, even if I can't see your wonderful face. I can imagine it if I close my eyes, I can see your face. So that works. Wonderful day to you too, Brenda. Happy to have you here. Happy to be with you. I was just discussing with Laura that I wish I could see you guys, and then it occurred to me that that's Zoom, where we can
Or
all see each other,
Skype. You have
or
two choices.
Skype. How many people can you put on a Skype call though?
Oh, a lot.
Can you? Oh,
If you pay for it.
aha, aha. If you pay for it. Okay. Well, we'll look into that one of these days. Hi, Donna. Glad you're here. Yay. Oh, this is fun. Everybody's gathering. You're not out shopping. Thank goodness. Probably. Because I would imagine that the crowds are just horrendous today. Grateful Sunday to you too, Jennifer. Glad you're here. Happy Sunday, Jefferson. This is really fun. I like greeting everybody as they come in. That's kind of like having a party and just keep opening the door and finding new surprises every time someone knocks. Wonderful people showing up at my party, and I'm thrilled to have you all here and thrilled to be here with you. That's how that works. So what are you going to be doing for the holidays now that we are officially into the system and the season is here for celebrating and singing carols and doing all of that holiday stuff? Now that we are officially past Thanksgiving, I feel like it's okay to go there now. So here I go. I'll just jump right in. Teams has replaced Skype and is free as far as I know. Thank you, Jennifer. I'll look into that. Hi, Lainey. Happy Sunday to you as well. Good morning, Dana. Good afternoon, Dana. I'm trying to learn to be good about that. I haven't quite succeeded yet, but I am working on it. So, if we are officially into the holiday season, what are you officially into? What does that look like for you? We put up our lights, and we weren't going to turn them on until after Thanksgiving. We put them up just a few days ahead of time. But then we decided they made us happy. And they were either going to annoy the neighbors and give them something other than COVID and how awful the world was to talk about, or it would make them smile too. So we put them on the first night, and we've left them on every night since then. And we're enjoying the heck out of our pretty little Christmas lights. Pretty big Christmas. They're all over the place, the Christmas lights.
And they're drippy.
Yeah, they're the icicle lights, but they're multicolored icicle lights. So we have multicolored icicles hanging off the eaves of the house, and it's pretty cool. And I feel holiday-ish now. Happy to you, Tina. Yay! Look at this. We've got a nice turnout. People are not out there shopping. They are in here thinking about their spirituality and Sunday morning. And that's very cool. I like that. I like that. that speaks well, I think, for all of us that we have priorities. And when the presence is a priority, that's pretty special. That creates a good life, creates a kind of inner happiness, I think. Hi, Heidi. Glad you're here. Dana's decorations are coming out of the shed very soon. Okay, good. We are rarely ever this far ahead of the curve, but we got there this time. Probably because we actually put up Halloween lights too. And once those came down, it was kind of like, well, we missed the lights. It's time to put something else back up there. We're going to have to create New Year's lights.
Well, it's like living on a float.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cat said it's like living on a float, and it kind of is. There's sparkly lights everywhere. Only at night. I mean, during the day, you don't see any of that. But, well, I guess you could if you looked. But they don't sparkle like they do at night. I like the sparkly lights. Ooh, Laura's decorating the tree today with the kids. Yay, all right. Jennifer's into it. I got it. She's going to do some baking and put lights up. This is cool. Hi, Kirk. Good day. Happy noon to you. What mischief are we going to get into? Oh, dear, don't tempt us. Well, go ahead and tempt us. Well, mischief never hurt anybody, I don't think. As long as you're reasonable about it and don't intend to hurt anyone. Mischief can be a good thing. You know, of course, that you've all sent me directly to the direct dictionary now to look up the real meaning of the word mischief and find out if it has an evil connotation. Yeah, Heidi, I agree with you. I think we all want to get into the festive mood just as soon as possible because it's been kind of a bummer year, hasn't it? I mean, good has happened in it. I've talked to a lot of people who have had some wonderful experiences and some good feelings. And I did a wedding last Wednesday, and those people were certainly happy and enjoying and didn't seem to mind wearing masks to get married in. But they had some unusual pictures. Although the photographer kept telling him to take the masks off, and I kept thinking, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to have your pictures with your masks on. I mean, who does that? But they did take them off quite a bit for the pictures. However, at least during the ceremony, I had mine on the entire time. I have a cute little black mask that matches the black clothes I usually wear so that I look like a minister. But my black mask has a little red heart on it. Just makes me feel good. Mischief. Playful misbehavior. All right. Misbehavior. Check out misbehavior, would you? As long as you're there.
Yeah, it's easy.
Mischief is defined as playful misbehavior, which is, I think,
The act of misbehaving. Bad behavior. Bad behavior.
bad behavior. Well, naughty, maybe.
I'll look up naughty.
Oh, yes. Good mischief. Tina's ahead of us. She's planning for next year. Yeah. What a year it has been, Heidi says. That's an understatement. Normal just kind of disappeared underneath us, didn't it? The expectation. We're supposed to be having lunch with some dear, 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 dear friends next week, and Kat was on the phone checking around, and you have to say to somebody, yes, I know you're open now, but will you be open next week? And their response has to be something like, well, that all depends on the governor. And yes, they were open now for takeout and for outside dining. Um, but will they be by the middle of next week? Well, who knows? I guess you just call ahead and say, hey, what did the governor say this morning? Um, and I agree with whatever they do. Incidentally, this is not me complaining about any of that because I think they need to do everything that they can do to protect all of us and save lives. And nothing is going to matter if you're dead, is it? So, oh, we're all invited to Tina's solstice party next year in the new house. Okay. Oh, thank you, Heidi. That's an idea. Picnic in the park is what it may end up being, Jennifer. In fact, we had said that because we love these people and we haven't seen them in forever. And we said, if they close down all the restaurants and just have takeout, maybe we'll order something from our favorite place and go find a couple of blankets and go sit in the park because we really want to spend some time with them. They're beautiful, lovely people that we've known for decades and decades, much like I've known most of you for decades and decades. Boy, how did that happen? Isn't that kind of amazing? I find that amazing. Decades and decades. And I think most of us can kind of remember when we first met, can't we? And then, and it's been decades and decades. So I guess I'm not losing my memory. Ha ha! Good. Yay, things to know. All right then. Have we looked up everything we were supposed to
Yeah,
look
you don't
up?
want to know what naughty is because
I don't want to know
no,
what naughty is.
no. You stick with misbehavior
Okay.
and
All right.
mischief.
Playful misbehavior.
Yeah, there you go.
I like the playful part because that kind of suggests that it's not badly intended and isn't going to go someplace terrible.
Naughty means wicked, so you don't want to do that.
Oh, really?
That's what one of the definitions, wicked.
Well, it was a
But bad
good show. I
naughty.
enjoyed the musical.
Well, yeah. Well, you'll enjoy the musical Naughty too.
All right, it's going to be one of those days. It already is one of those days, isn't it? It's not going to be. It has arrived. Here we are. All right. Carol brought you to the church, Heidi. I don't think I. Well, I probably knew it back then. Yay, Carol. Reverend Carol. Dana's voting for shenanigans. I like that. Yeah, we're kind of an old solid group, aren't we? I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that you remember when we first met. I love that I do. Um, and I love that we did. And look at us. We're still together. My relation, no, I'm not going to go there. Just imagine for yourself where I might have gone. But I'm not going to. Yes, Dana, I remember you came because of a newspaper article that was about the Wednesday night service. And then you mentioned that you had a son in the service. And that just sort of started it all. So, Heidi says seasoned, not old. Thank you, darling. Yes. I was muttering to myself the other day, you know how you do when you get a conversation going in your head, and I had one going in my head. And I decided that I wasn't fond of the word old either, and I thought maybe mature. And I thought, ugh.
Vintage.
Oh, that's even worse. Vintage suggests that there's a picture in an attic somewhere getting really, really scary. And
No, it suggests a really good wine.
hmm, I can whine with the best of them. Yeah, leave out the old. Sage is good. I like sage, Tina. You can be a youngish sage. You don't have to be an old sage or a crone. Although I've always kind of liked crone. It has a feel to it. Anyway, let me get on with what it is I was going to talk about. I'm going to talk about this morning, and then we'll talk some more, shall we? So they're here. They're here. It's the holidays. It is official. There was the Macy's parade, which was 1 block long, but yay Macy's, incidentally, while I'm on that particular moment, because they spent all the money, went to all the trouble, put in all the planning for a parade that only went 1 block so that the TV cameras could catch it, so that we could all still enjoy it at home and not miss the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. They spent everything they would have spent. They blew up the balloons, the floats came out, they brought the bands in. It was spectacular, even though the parade only went a block. But from our perspective, from sitting at home with the TV on, we didn't know it only went a block. It I realized that there were no people lining the streets, and so it certainly wasn't going to be as long as usual. But where it usually goes for 2.5 miles, it went for 1 block, and yet they put all their resources, their heart and soul, into keeping that tradition alive. People do that, don't they, for things around the holidays? People do that. Which is why I suppose it was hard for a lot of people to give up going home for Thanksgiving, because it's the tradition and their heart wants to do that. So I can understand it. I think it's a little crazy, but I can understand it. Nonetheless, I love the holidays. I love the lights, I love the decorations, I love all the other fantastical stuff that seems to magically appear when the holidays are here. And I particularly love to hear the old songs, the carols, the seasonal songs. Nearly every one of them has a story behind it that verges on the miraculous. Okay, confession time. I absolutely believe that the world is and has always been full of miraculous moments. On December 10th, the celebration of Hanukkah will begin, which is nothing less than a celebration of the miraculous. Before the babe in the manger, over 2,400 years ago, in the land of Judea, which is now Israel, a people who believed they were chosen by God celebrated the victory of the Maccabees over the Syrian Greeks. And they celebrated with the rededication of the Jerusalem temple and the miracle of the oil that burned for 8 days, when it was very clear that there was only enough oil for one night. And so Hanukkah is the festival of lights, the celebration of the miracle of the light that just would not go out. The Old Testament, the Torah, is filled with miracle stories. God's intervention in everyday affairs, God's salvation of his people, God's presence in their everyday life, walking with them in gardens, talking with them in the desert. And if you pay attention, a lot of those folks did not seem to be particularly miracle worthy. Some of them were up to mischief. Some of them were flat out naughty. Nonetheless, God keeps showing up, warning his favorites about upcoming floods, saving lives at the last moment. Then, about the year 1, about 33 years after a babe was born in a manger and angels appear singing, what were they singing? I bring you good tidings of great joy, for unto you this day is born a Savior. So, 30 years later, young rabbi shows up and, well, things have never been the same since, quite literally. Instead of an outside God intervening in the lives of the common man, his message, a saving message, being a savior and all, was that we all have that God within us. He called it Father. And he said that from Father we have inherited the kingdom of heaven. And that when we know that and act accordingly, we will not just experience the miraculous, we will do the miraculous. Without needing to sit around and depend on the caprice of an outside God, or without even begging that God for gifts or salvation or redemption. He worked miracles and told everyone that they could do the same if they just believed. And according to the reports, many of them did. Indeed, good tidings of great joy. I mean, that's really pretty cool stuff, isn't it? Making miraculous things happen. And they did. For a while. Then something seems to have gone wrong. The miracles, well, except in very special cases, seem to have stopped happening. I mean, when was the last time you made a miracle? I was tempted to ask if any of you ever made a miracle, but I know the answer to that. Of course you have. Of course you have. Oh, you may not have recognized it as a miracle in the moment, but I bet you realized later that the seemingly impossible had, in fact, happened. Still, we don't seem to realize on a daily basis what miracle workers we might be. We get spiritual amnesia. And we think we're not capable or we're not worthy of being miracle workers. There's a story in the book of Matthew, 17:21, if you want to check me out. A man comes to Jesus and asks him to cure his son of epilepsy. He mentions, the man, that he had already brought the child to the disciples, but they couldn't cure him. Jesus mutters something about a faithless generation. How long do I have to put up with you? And then he cures the boy, instantly. Later, privately, the disciples came to their teacher and said, "Why couldn't we do that?" And his answer could not have been clearer. You couldn't do it because of your little faith. Well, and then he goes on to what well may be his most famous quote. For I say unto you, if you have faith as the grain of mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible to you. Some ancient authorities also say that he added, but this kind of work never comes out except by prayer and fasting. Now, I don't think he meant that a strict diet gave one the ability to work miracles. If that were true, more of us would be miracle workers, wouldn't we be? At least in a yo-yo diet kind of way. When the master teacher said that, when he said that healing faith was built on prayer and fasting, I'm pretty sure, he was talking about moving to that level in spiritual consciousness where healing occurs and all things are possible. By spiritual fasting, I believe he meant abstaining from negative thinking and keeping our minds on heaven. In the science of mind, one reads that if one wishes to embody an ideal and is willing to give up all else to attain it, then he's fasting and praying. He's sublimating an old idea with a new and better. He's willing to abstain from the old and cling to the new. And in doing so, he's giving greater reality to the new, to the as yet unseen but accepted and realized. A steadfast determination to attain some specific purpose, the letting go of all the thoughts that oppose it, a complete reliance upon the law of God, and an unqualified trust, faith in spirit. That's true fasting and real prayer. The scientist lost in thought before his microscope or telescope. The artist focused on the smallest detail of her painting. The poet waiting with pen in hand for inspiration. The gardener gently patting the soil over a newly planted seed, trusting in the natural law to bring that seed to light. It happens all the time. It happens in your life all the time. We live in a fasting and praying world. When we are really focused on principle to the exclusion of everything else that would deny it, when we refuse to see anything but the greater, the spiritual truth, rather than being mesmerized by the appearances, things will change. And we will consciously make miracles. But see, things won't change by themselves, no matter how right that may be, or how much we want them to change. Things are things. Situations are situations. And they are all effects. And effects can't change themselves. But thought can. If we believe in a higher truth, well, then a higher truth will reveal itself. It's that simple. Okay, please note, I didn't say easy. Miracles require our participation. They require some amount of work, mostly mental work, on our part. There is a prayer, one of my favorites, a powerful prayer. I believe, God. Help thou my unbelief. And there is also the old saying that God helps those who help themselves. We've got to help ourselves. We've got to put some of our own spiritual energy into the change we desire. And the energy isn't about running around putting out fires. It's about going within and lighting the fire of truth, no matter what the appearances may be. Jesus was right, you know. I bring you good tidings of great joy. Disease can be healed. Lack can be healed. Limitation in any form can be healed, providing we are willing to surrender our attachment to the cause of it. We cannot heal ourselves or anyone else of a problem if we are not willing to give up the mental or the emotional charge that binds us to the problem. Einstein said something to the effect of, you cannot solve a problem with the same mind that created it. You got to change your mind. You got to think in a new way. Emily Cady in God, a Present Help asks you to imagine that an old and trusted friend comes to you and says, I have brought you good news. Almost too good to be true, but true nonetheless. From this day, all things in your life may be changed. A will has come to light, and you have inherited a large fortune. You now have enough money to do anything you can imagine. Would you hesitate and question? Would you quibble about taking the gift? Probably not. Think what you could do. And, says the friend, I have found a physician who has never failed to cure. How long would you hesitate? How long would anyone hesitate while he argued with the messenger about his doubts and fears, his unworthiness, or his lack of ability to use the gifts that he had inherited properly? How long would you hesitate? Hear ye, hear ye. I bring you good tidings of great joy. You have inherited the kingdom. All of the wealth, all of the health, all of the peace, all of the joy. But I do not promise you something for nothing. There is a price to be paid. There's the price to be paid for joy. There is a price to be paid for peace. And, as strange as it sounds, there's a price to be paid for prosperity. And the price is pretty plain. You've got to be willing to let go of whatever you do believe in that opposes your idea in order to have the ideal. Eldridge Cleaver was right. You are quite literally either part of the solution or part of the problem. Not just in the life around you, but in your own life. There is no getting around it. You've got to give up. You've got to choose the higher thought. You've got to give up your belief in lack if you want plenty. You've got to give up your belief in disease if you want health. You've got to give up your belief that the world is a tough and unfriendly place if you ever want to live in it at ease. And you've got to give up thinking you are a victim if you ever want to be a victor. We all need to fast and to pray, to stop filling our minds with negativity and to center our thoughts instead on the highest truth we can imagine. We all need to give up our littleness if we want to live large, to make a difference, to be part of the solution. Don't we all want to be saved, to inherit the kingdom? But somehow we seem to think that it's all up to God. If we're chosen, we're in, and if we're not, we're not. But it ain't necessarily so. Scripture reminds us that there were those who, even after 40 years wandering around in the desert following Moses, there were those who could not enter the promised land because of their unbelief. Because in their minds they limited the Holy One. So here's the holiday message. Here's the good news of great joy. Chosen isn't the secret. Choosing is. We can choose to be victims and martyrs, or we can choose to live miracle-making lives. God does not single out one person or one group of people to love, to heal, to prosper, to save. But there are those who choose God. And when they do, when you do, when you give up anything, unlike the awareness that in every minute, in every moment, everywhere, the presence of perfection exists. The probability of possibility exists. Then you too will love and heal and prosper. It's promised. What better news can there be than this? You are the maker of miracles. And what better season to begin? The movies tell us that there was a miracle on 34th Street. We all grew up with it. Won't it be wonderful when the headlines tell us that there was a miracle on your street? Happy holidays, miracle workers. May your presence be the present that your world has been waiting for. Happy holidays. I'm reading your comments. Bear with me. Hi, Heidi says you're worth more if you're vintage. Maybe I'll rethink that vintage thing.
Yes.
Yeah, Wednesday night brought a lot of really wonderful people to church, didn't it? Jennifer says, happy holy days, and every day is a holy day. Yes. That's that's it in a nutshell, isn't it? That every day, no matter how it looks, no matter what is going on, no matter what the circumstances are, whether you're crying or laughing, loving or shopping or doing whatever you're doing, every moment is sacred. Every day is a holy day. We mark them on the calendars. We call them holy days, holidays, holy days. But every day is that, isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, if we know what we know, if we know that Spirit is present in every moment, every day, all year long, no matter what is going on around us, then we make that day holy with our awareness. And then we can call forth our power to transform, to change, to heal, to make whole, to give life to. Good tidings of great joy. Yeah. Interesting observation, Heidi. This year has brought about deep cleaning, kicking up thought clutter. We've had more time to think, haven't we? We've had more space to do that in. That's a blessing. That's good news. We've had more time to look at what's important, what's meaningful to us, what we really value. That's time well spent. That's time very well spent. Let us be grateful for that. That we have had the space and the time this year to look at what's going on in our mind, what we're really thinking. And if we can look at what we're really thinking, then we can look at what we're really creating. And that's powerful. That's immensely powerful. Oh, Lainey, I'm glad you're having some family time, though. We will, however, miss you. But you'll know when we're here, so if you can drop in, we'd love that. And if not, you can catch up with us. And we'll be looking for you when you come back. But that's true, isn't it, Heidi? When you start doing that cleaning, it just one thing leads to another, and I think you find yourself throwing out stuff that you know you shouldn't be holding on to, but then there's a void, and nature throws things into voids. Yes, Lainey, have a wonderful time. And we will miss you. Ah, 'tis the season, isn't it? 'Tis the time when people are going hither and thither, and be safe, Lainey. You know that. I don't have to tell you that. I'm not your mother. Old habits die hard. But be safe. If you're traveling, keep your mask on. Take several masks with you. Sew your name into all of your clothes. No, you don't need to do that. You're a big girl. A big, beautiful, smart girl. You know all those things. Oh, yeah. So it's a good time for you to be going home. They'll be so glad to see you. They'll be so glad. And we'll trundle on without you, but we will miss you and we'll be glad when you come back safe and sound to us. Will. And look at Brenda's getting healthier and stronger every single day and healing and oh my, there's just so much good happening. There is so much good happening. Things to celebrate. Things to remind ourselves of on those days when it just feels like the world is kind of crashing in around us. And that happens to all of us, doesn't it? It does. We have those days. Some days just start out that way. Not too often, but every once in a while. So, heading into the holidays, what's what's your biggest wish? It can be for you, it can be for the world, it can be for someone else. What's your biggest wish? It can be impossible. Doesn't matter. Yes, you are, Brenda. I see that. I know that. I feel that. When I pray, it's just like, she's well. I love those prayers. When you kind of curl up your brow and you go to pray for somebody and you realize in the middle of the prayer that they're just fine, that the work is done, that they're healed. Yay! It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. I'm probably 30 seconds ahead or behind you or whatever. Ahead of you. I'd have to be ahead of you, and I couldn't be behind you. That wouldn't work at all. Um, so I ask a question, and then I have to kind of wait for a little bit because you haven't even heard the question yet. What's your Christmas wish? What's your holiday wish? Let's just make it a whole holy month. And what's your miracle? Hmm? Grown up Christmas wish. Yeah. Thank you, Tina. That's when y'all get a chance, click on that link because that's a great song. It's a great song, and Amy Grant is just one of the best. She really is. She's one of the people that makes me wish I could sing. I don't. That's one of my gifts to the world. But what would you? What's your wish? You can have more than one, you know. I'm just asking for one right now. Peace of mind and soul right now for everyone. Good, Tina. Good. Come on, the rest of you. Come on. Understanding. That's lovely, Jennifer. Boy, if we all had that, what a different world we live in. We would assume, Tina, that with you that would be absolutely part of it all. Peace for our country. Good wish. Good wish. I have a guest here. Come here. Ooh. You must have known that Tina was on the. Say hi. Say hi. This is Socrates. Socrates is. Heidi wants a pony. Okay, fair enough. Saki, say hello to everybody. Say hello. Kitty, 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 kitty. All right, I'll let you go. Mother, don't embarrass me. Yeah, he's pretty special. He's a good boy. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Yeah, he is beautiful. Brenda, have you got the sound back? Maybe I just needed to talk more. Oh, Lord, how is that possible? Oh, Donna, good one. A real concerted effort on climate change. Yes, not just talking about it. Let's do something about it. Let's do something about it. Hooray, hooray. Yeah, Dana, and he always has been wise looking, which is how he got his name. When he was that big, when he fit in the palm of my hand, he had that same face. And Socrates, we just sort of had to name him that. It's always fit him. He just recently, however, discovered, I mean, within the last year or so, discovered that he was a cat. We're not sure what it was he thought he was, but I don't think he thought he was one of like those other people that were running around. And then he just kind of got it one day and has been a great cat ever since. He just didn't know he was one. It's certainly not a case of the ugly duckling, maybe the pretty duckling. I don't know. He's a great cat. Yeah, hugging friends, that would be a nice wish for the new year. Would be. So let's plan on that. Oh, nice, Lainey. Love heals all situations for everyone. Well, love does, doesn't it? We just go there. Love and understanding. Yeah. And inner peace that allows us not to be in panic mode all the time. Okay, I'm going to keep your requests. I'm going to keep this line. Empowerment takes on power. Empowerment wins. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to keep this and I'm going to pray on this. So if you haven't put a request in yet, would you please do that? And we're going to know that you miracle workers have already started the process, that you're doing the work now, that in claiming what you're claiming, the world is being changed. So let's take a moment or two and let's pray together. Shall we? Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. If not, just soft focus so that your attention is going within to where the power is. And I know that all that there is God. Everyone, everything, just God. Just God. A place where creation exists to create, to express. Each of us is that. Our lives are that. Our world is that. And so we claim for ourselves today that each of us, in our own way, is a miracle worker. Each of us, in our own way, expresses creation as uniquely and as completely as we can. We are the hands and feet, the bodies, the faces, the voices, the hearts of God. And we go forth into the world today and every day and to make it holy. We go forth into the world today and every day to be love expressing, to be understanding, to be empowered and to empower others, to love, to be kind, to be generous, to heal, to make whole everything we touch. As we enter into this holy season, we bring ourselves wholly to the task of being spirit expressing. Of being God in the world. And of doing the work that we feel called to do. The world awaits us, and we go gladly into it, bringing good tidings of great joy. For we have awakened today to the realization of our own divinity and the power that is inherent in that. And we know that wherever we are a healing presence. Wherever we are a loving presence. Wherever we are an understanding and powerful presence. And that heals. That makes whole. That changes things for the better. And so gratefully, we simply allow that to be true. We get out of our own way and allow Spirit to move through us in the most wonderful ways possible. Simply, along with Socrates, we let that be so. And so it is. And so it is. And we will include in our prayers perfect healing and effortless recovery for John. Safe travel and divine presence for Lainey. Whatever your heart desires. Whatever your spirit calls for. May that be your reality. Not just today, but wholly, every day. And so it is. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Safe travels, Lainey. As for the rest of you, I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. I'll be here. I hope you will. Know that wherever it is you are, today or any day, you are there living the presence of God. You can't live any other way. And so it is.